Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Karolina Blasiak. I'm the art advisor at Rosemont International here in Monaco. I'm extremely pleased to welcome you to our webinar dedicated to a very controversial and hot topic, NFTs. Are they the new thing, or are they the new revolution for the art market? And since many people have spoken on this subject, and probably as we speak right now, things have already changed, and it's hard to keep the speed up to the latest NFTs which are minted, sold, and marketed. I am extremely pleased to welcome you today and welcome my guest, Harco Van Den OEVER, CEO and founder of OVERSTONE company. Harco served for 12 years at Christie's as continental European head and global managing director of the Impressionist and Modern Art department prior to founding OVERSTONE Art Services. With 12 years in debt capital markets under his belt at Paribas, Bankers Trust, and Credit Suisse, First Boston, Harco also founded fredfinds.com, the UK's first online mortgage brokerage business, acquired in 2001 by NetWindfall Ltd. Good morning, Harco. How are you?
Good morning, Karolina. Very well. You?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And I am also joined by another luminary art technology expert, Marek ZABICKI, co-founder and CTO of ARTEIA.com. Marek is a PhD degree in control of optimization of decentralized systems. He has more than a 3-decade experience in developing complex information retrieval systems, modeling financial derivatives, and developing art management platforms. After a short career at the Polish Academy of Science, he moved into a startup universe, and he participated and founded himself 8 technology startups. Among others, he was CTO of Cedrum, the company that developed French first CD-ROM, CTO of the GL Trade, world leader in the financial software. Marek was also the founder of Lex Media and Neurosoft, the company behind Massnet and GGOLT Art Management. Marek, I am so honored to have you with us. Now you are a leading dynamo force behind ARTEIA, and you are really applying and focusing on blockchain, smart contracts, and crypto economics in diverse real problems. So I think this is a very timely expertise now in our NFT frenzy. Before we start delving deeper into the NFT subject, I wanted to give our audience and our guests who joined into our webinar, I wanted to welcome everybody, first of all, in this magnificent artist studio, British photographer Damien Berger, based in Monaco, working internationally. And I am so pleased to be sitting here in his studio and also showing you some of the glimpses of his photography work. So, okay, few insights to our context of this subject. A recent art tactic survey has brought very interesting findings. Majority of collecting categories saw an increase in sales during Q1 in 2021. The top grossing sales categories, the majority of collecting segments saw an uptick in sales in the first quarter. The inclusion of NFTs in the traditional auction calendar added only 70 million to the Q1 total. And that's mainly due to the Beeple sale at Christie's later this year in March. We expect the new NFT category to grow further during 2021, as traditional auction houses are experimenting with this new collectible category. Last year, we saw a start of another boom, the spike of interest in marketplaces and the new ecosystem focusing in digital art. The interlink between art and blockchain technology has been happening for some years now. The pandemic has been a catalyst in providing digital artists with new ways to present and generate their work, and for collectors to find new and innovative ways to discover and buy digital art. Platforms such as Nifty, Gateway, Superware, Known Origin, and Marketplace have created new alternative art market ecosystems for digital art outside the domain of the traditional art market, obviously. Using technology, blockchain, to create combination of digital scarcity, traceability, proof of ownership and provenance, together with the opportunity for artists to benefit from secondary sales through built-in resale royalties, it seems like a win-win for all. This new digital art market will continue to generate new interest among new and existing art buyers, no doubt about it. And we expect to see the traditional art world embrace these new marketplaces or soon develop their own. I want to engage now with our expert guest and move into some questions which might shed some light onto still undiscovered areas of this subject. I think let's start with a basic question, because I think basic things are still the most difficult one for many audiences to understand. What is an NFT, and where are they traded right now? Harco, would you mind taking that question?
Sure, with pleasure. Thanks, Karolina. So NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, right? What it is that they're digital items, right? They're unique digital items with sort of a blockchain managed ownership, really. So what does it mean is that it's a contract, technology driven, that links to an object, to an individual object. So a few characteristics of this is that it's rare and unique. So an NFT is a single item. It's got interoperability, so it can migrate through different platforms, which makes it very useful. It's immutable. So in other terms, there's no way to change the code that sits within the NFT. It proves ownership because of that immutability, right? So if I say that I bought this object and this is then transcribed through an NFT or in the NFT code, that is unchangeable. And the beauty of it is that it has smart contracts embedded in it. So that means that if I'm a platform, I sell an NFT that's linked to a particular object, right, or digital art form, that means that every time I make a sale, I can then, through those smart contracts, pay royalties to the artists. So lots of benefits, as you can imagine, how you can apply that into the existing worlds. So what it really enables, what it does, it enables artists to disintermediate the galleries. So it's a way of connecting artists directly with the collector base, which is part of why this is so revolutionary, right? When you think about it, it's coming from the redistributed finance model, which is, we're no longer going to rely on central banks to emit currencies. We're gonna create this new environment where people can exchange between each other without the interference of governments. That's really what the philosophy behind it is. Now, what that means also is that the artists don't have these gateways anymore, right? So the galleries decide which artist is good, who am I going to represent, which ones am I going to push. This is no longer the case, because now it's being offered peer-to-peer between the artist and the collector, creating this new dialogue, right, between the two. And at the same time, it enables those artists to create revenues right, through the resale of those objects. As you were saying, this is not new. It started when in what is it, 2017 or so. You already have the crypto kitties, right? So this is something that's been going on for a while. Clearly, what you find now is that suddenly it's come to the fore, right? So the press it's been Beeple, you were mentioning that that really got everyone to take notice. It's still a pretty small market, really, when you consider it, right? So you have just a handful of objects that have made more than $1 million on the different platforms. But at the same time, the average, I think the average, and Marek, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the average of an NFT today is a couple $1,000s, right? $2,000 to $3,000. So it's not a massive market. So yeah, and there's issues, right? And we'll go into the issues during this conversation. Issues around copyright, law enforcement, environmental impacts, but I'm sure we'll get into that conversation in a bit.
Totally. Thank you very much, Harco. And it's really poignant what you said, because when we look at the evolution of NFTs since 2017, that's when they started to really appear. I think a recent study has shown that a staggering $174 million has been spent on NFTs since then. And I think that's a number that cannot be forgotten or just ignored.
True, but you compare that to the market. The art market is $50 billion a year, right? So it's still a very small portion of the big.
Yeah, but I would like to add something here. You can say that this is a very small market, and I agree that comparing to classical art market does not represent much. But in terms of investment and the funds which are now running after NFTs companies, this is just incredible. CryptoKitties raised $250 million in funding just recently for doing NFTs, and a couple of days ago for music platform, people from Silicon Valley raised $63 million just to making NFT for music. So this is something which is very, very, very hot, and I must agree here with Harco that it is something which plays and will play a big role in eliminating or maybe changing the role of intermediaries. NFT brings a lot of power to the artist, because now if you use NFT, you have a complete authority over the control. So you can expose means of controlling what you issue and how you want to decentralize it, and how you'd like to get an income of it. So this is something absolutely revolutionary, because couple of years ago, artists has to run after galleries and ask whether it was sold and where can I get money. And afterwards, when the object was going from collector to collector, it was very difficult to collect anything for the artist. So something which we call droit de suite was existing just in theory. And for collectors, NFT brings authentication. So collectors can see in NFT a full provenance of the object, which gives them some power, because now they know what they are buying, who built it, when it was created, and what was a chain of transaction. So more or less, the value of such object can be well established. And just last thing in this part concerns the notion of NFT. NFT definitely appeared in 2017 with CryptoKitties and with a smart contract on Ethereum platform. But as a matter of fact, that kind of connection of digital objects with tokens exists since 2012, because there was an extension done for Bitcoin called colored coins, and it was more or less what we have now with NFT. Yeah. Of course, with all the Bitcoins restrictions, which means that the majority has to agree on the role of such an NFT. But it was existing on a blockchain platform a little time before.
Thank you, Marek, for your take, and Harco. I think another question that is really worthy of shedding more light is what are some features, according to you, that make NFT a financial security?
Sorry, Marek, or
yeah, you can start. I mean, I can start close.
Go ahead.
So, I wouldn't say that NFT is a financial security. It's not yet stated. SEC didn't say anything about this. I would say that this is a quite suspect object. So you have to be very careful with getting it. But I don't think it's a security per se, because it represents something. And this representation means that even if behind of this is IPR or whatever, which is tangible in terms of digital world, or even in a physical world, you cannot assign a security emblem to it. Of course, if you want to sell something which doesn't belong to you, like let's say Golden Stand Bridge, and you issue the NFT, you can maybe argue in the court that you just sold an image, a photo which you made with this. But it's much better to be secure, which means that if the artist plans to do NFT, he should clearly state what does it mean. What is important to admit here is that this is becoming a very big business, but there are still people on the market, very powerful figures on the market, who say that this is just stupid. You know, Nouriel Roubini, who is a Nobel Prize in economics, just said recently that this is an absolute disaster, or even use the word bullshit for naming NFT. Nassim Taleb, another big name in economics, he's criticizing very much cryptos and NFTs. And younger generation, like for example, one of the top guys in a Haskell language community, Stephen Deal, is just laughing out of this. So this is very strange situation right now, and there is probably a reason why there is so many, let's say, strange people on this market. So you see the art we can buy, but what is it art? Maybe Harco should say something on it, because
so listen, so Marek, I disagree. You know, it's a little bit the same as pornography, right? I know it when I see it, and I think besides all of the issues, you know, that we talked about a little bit in terms of regulation, you know, the potential for hacking, reliance on tech, all of these different things, AML, KYC, which it's a whole subject on its own. You know, this is a security. There's no doubt about it. It's a security as much as shares or securities, you know, as measured in anything. And for me, the fundamental data points that tells me it's a security, you know, is when you're looking at, you know, cryptocurrencies being hedgeable, right? When the Chicago Board of Trade, you know, has short futures derivatives on the underlying cryptocurrency, that tells me that this is a tradable market that is securitized. That I've got no doubt about that.
Yeah, but if it is security, you must register it before acquiring it. So you know, if you sell,
I agree. But listen, there's lots of issues, right? For me, things like AML, KYC, which is going to be one that's going to be really difficult to resolve. Regulation. I know we've got a question, you know, about regulation, but you know, that needs to be resolved, and it's going to be very tricky because of the nature of the you know, the distributed nature of this asset, you know, makes it very hard. But fundamentally, it is, in my view, something that has a financial value and is therefore a security.
Yeah, I will argue here with you. My last statement here is the following. Let's look at a situation of our company. We have something which is called NFC, which nearly everybody has this stuff in his phone, and we connect a physical object with this NFC. So we have a kind of connection with virtual world with tangible world. Now we mean an NFT to this connection. Okay, is it security or not? It means it always depends on how you sell it, or what you define. Because if you say, and you clearly state that when you pay that amount of money, you will get a real artwork. Use this by using this connection. This is not security. But if you say, well, maybe I will sell it to you. Okay, maybe this can become a security. So expression of what you really want to do might play a role. But I agree with you that this is still very, very strange market, and in terms of legal issues, we will speak about this probably later. It's a big question mark. Depending on the formulation, it is either this or different.
Yeah. So can I just on the downside, right? Against so we to brush a little bit against those issues, and I see there's a comment there. So there's fundamental concerns, right? So lack of regulation is one of them. The potential for hacking is another one, right? So hacking seems to have gone down a little bit, but still $500 million last year, which is not negligible. The reliance on technology. So what happens if to the comment that was just made, very, very, very valid one, right? What happens if the platforms goes down? What happens if technology doesn't follow up? Market volatility is another one, right? Which clearly we've seen over the past few years. And again, the AML KYC question, which I think is going to come back to hold this market for a little while to come.
Yeah, this I definitely agree.
Absolutely, and I wanted to tie into the comment we had from our audience also. Yes, what happens if a platform disappears all of a sudden and there's no recourse? What do you think? What are the most secure platforms as we speak right now to trade, and where can people trade right now as we speak? Because we see a myriad of various platforms being advertised, and where should collectors go? I mean, what is is there an authority? Is there such an issue as trust, or it's all about trust in the art market, and reliability and confidence, and giving confidence to collectors. We are talking about a non-fungible object. So where do we go, and where do we trade, and where do we open our wallets?
Marek, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, there is a quite important number of platforms, or what we call marketplaces, when you can buy NFT, and more is coming. I would say maybe even a few of them is coming every day. The question is maybe not a good one on which platform to buy, because for me most of this platform sells everything. So as I said, if we are talking about art, maybe the question should be where you can buy an art via NFT, and this is much more difficult, because I would say that most of these platforms came from the world of crypto funds, and they were adapted for selling NFTs. So these big platforms which are getting a lot of money are in hands of people who get the money, good money in crypto, and that money was a decent one, and now those are billions. So they can make a switch that they can sell NFTs. Platforms which are built right now for NFTs are very rare. One of the platforms, for example, the one we are exploring is the platform from Tezos, Hidden Nuns, and this platform is dedicated to art. Now, when you go there and you look at this art, you can pose a question: this is the real art, or maybe art is real and the rest is just somebody nominated you an artist. So it's, I would say, for me, I didn't meet till today a platform, an NFT platform, which is absolutely dedicated to art. but it is changing. It is changing, and now you can find a kind of, maybe not marketplaces, but kind of digital galleries who are selling NFTs and digital art. And not only they are selling NFTs, but they are also thinking about changing the curation model. So for example, there is a platform when you have a curation model based on artists who are members of this platform. So they select who can be a member, and they also share revenues. So if something is sold on such a platform, 60% is going to the artist who created an object. 10% is going to the platform for paying usage of the platform and future development, and 30% is divided between all people, all artists who are on this platform. So we see a kind of mutualization, and I think that kind of approach to in art and in digital art might become more common. I'm not expert in art, but I see that this is a big chance. NFT is a big chance to democratize this quite strange market.
So what's interesting here is what I find is that, so you have two types of platforms, right? You've got the curated and the open platforms, right? And what's interesting there, it sort of reminds me what's happening in the traditional art markets, right? So when you're talking about curation, you're really talking about what a gallery is doing today, right? Are we going to go to a situation where actually all we're doing is replicating the model that we're seeing in the traditional art market, where you have powerful galleries that basically own the important artists, right, and represent the important artists, and everyone else gets sort of, thrown into sort of a general uncurated marketplace? And it's, I don't know what the answer to this is, but I find it a really fascinating evolution of this market. Are we actually seeing a replication of this traditional market with its own benefits, clearly, right, in terms of the royalties that are being paid, how this is being shared with the artists? But ultimately, I think what's fundamental here is that these platforms, ultimately are money-making exercises, right? These are commercial entities, right? And they're building these platforms with an aim to make maximum revenues. So I don't know, I find it interesting how that's developing.
Thank you for your take on this subject. I wanted also to touch a few words about the sustainability of this phenomena of NFTs. Recently, artist Damon Hirst has launched his collection of his own green NFTs, and he claims to be 99% more energy efficient than the existing ones. And obviously, energy is a big concern for this development, and many artists are also working to raise awareness around alternatives to Ethereum. Do you think such new category of a green NFT will be the one that will ultimately prevail and dominate over the less green ones?
Just one comment here. I think today I read somewhere that the minting of one NFT is the equivalent of driving 500 miles in a petrol powered car, which doesn't sound particularly energy efficient, right? And when you understand how it actually works, how the sort of the power of work blockchain creates that energy demand, it's totally understandable. I personally think that that's a temporary situation, and that solutions are being found and are being, even Ethereum, is launching Ethereum 2.0, which is already much more efficient than the existing market. So I think this is soon no longer going to be an element of concern.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Harco here. Even if today Ethereum platform is de facto expensive for NFT, there is a new version of the platform coming. First part in the summer, second part maybe in the winter. But it's not all. You have all this L2 layer 2 movement which means building a framework over the platform. So, if, for example, in Ethereum world, you have a Polygon project, which brings something very, very cheap to the platform, not investigating every node for making proof of work, but investigating every tens or every hundreds. So, and this works, and it is not yet available for NFT, but it's a matter of days. So today we can say Ethereum is not something which is maybe too expensive for the average artist, but it will definitely change. But this is, as you said, Harco, I don't think it's something which is of importance to people. People who are minting NFTs, or let's say artists, should be blockchain agnostic. The platform should be blockchain agnostic. You should know what is the price, and that's all. And you should don't take care much about which kind of blockchain is behind. So, but this will come in the future. Right now, you have to be aware that that platform uses Ethereum because you have that price. You have another price. You have another platform which is using Tezos because the price is nearly zero. So today you care, but I think in a 6 months from now, it will be totally transparent and price-wise not that important.
No.
So what will be really important will be not the price of the transaction, but rather the price you are paying. We are paying to the platform, to the marketplace.
Yeah.
There is a second issue which was not talked today, and which is quite. I don't think I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere, but it happened to us. It happened to us because we've been minting Belgium artist NFTs a couple of days ago. And of course, everybody, the price was expressed in crypto. And as usual in such occasions, an artist is thinking in euros or in dollars, and then is transferring it into cryptos. So he makes his price. Everybody was done, and when it was on the market, the crypto went down 40%. So now, in real monies, this artist would be receiving half, maybe a little more than he was expecting to get. So, you know, so this is a kind of things we have to be aware, and we have to think, I mean, technical people have to think how to avoid that part, okay? If you mean only NFT related to the digital item, maybe it's not that important, but especially when you keep this crypto for some time, and maybe it will rise. But if you want to sell for crypto real artworks related to NFTs, it can become a huge problem, because something which can cost $1 million suddenly will cost half of this because of the change in the value. And the volatility of crypto is incredible. It's just incredible, and it's obvious for everybody that it's in some kind manipulated. So what we see in a crypto world is a manipulation. So we have a lot of speculators, and you can do a lot of things. You cannot do this with dollar. Okay, it's difficult to change a course of dollar. So it may lose 1% or 2%, but you cannot lose 50% in one day. So there is some aspect of NFTs which people should consider when they are trying to mint NFT.
Thank you, Marek. It's a very interesting vision on that. I see we have even some questions coming from the audience asking you to share with us post webinar some links to those platforms. So I'm sure we'll be getting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, Karolina, what we said, and any further information related platforms or maybe our experiences, it can be shared, no problem.
Of course, thank you. I have another question really revolving around what you do yourself and professionally. What brought you to set up your business, and how relevant it is to NFTs, both of you?
Shall I start, Marek?
No, go ahead.
then you can free flow after that.
Yeah.
So we are looking to transform art into financial assets. We found that you know, although art is worth, you know, 1.7, 1.8 trillion dollars, art in private hands, that it's highly unlevered. And what we're doing is using a uniform, standardized way to assess art, assess the risk of art, in order to transform it into a financial asset. And we mainly work for financial institutions, right? For, so imagine large private banks, wealth managers who want to lend against art. So that's what really brought me into this industry. Obviously, combining my financial services background with my art background. What's been very interesting is looking at NFTs and how relevant this is actually for us. You know, on the one hand, it's a new art category, right? If I just look at digital art, right, and just if I focus on that one aspect of NFT, which is the digital art, it's a completely new. You know, not completely new, but it's very much a category that's coming to the fore. There's a lot of new artists that are coming to the market. What is great for us as a company that looks at art as a financial asset, coming back to the security conversation, Marek, is that what we like is we like knowledge, data, right? Now this is obviously a wonderful place for us because there's a lot of data available in terms of sales, in terms of what's being used, how it's being used, because it's that open, it has that open platform element to it. We like the fact that there's a secure ownership aspect to it, which is always a bit of a challenge in the physical art markets. But you know, and you know, the thing is that on the flip side, to Marek's point, you know, this is a very volatile environment, right? So, am I comfortable lending against an object that has such high volatility, or where the underlying currency has such high volatility? Now, what's been interesting is that actually. And to your point, Marek, on your example with your Belgium artist, actually you can hedge it, right? So as I was saying earlier, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, you know, has started offering hedge products for cryptocurrency, so it is hedgeable. Now today, as I was saying earlier, and to the point of one of the participants here, you know, I thought it was about $2,000 average NFT. It seems to be more like 50. That's the challenge in the market, right? It's still a very relatively small market. There's a company today that's already lending against crypto. You know, the biggest loan they've ever did was $80,000. And they've expanded. You know, the whole market is about $2.5 million loan. We've just closed one last week of $150 million, right? That's on one transaction. So you get a sense of that scale difference between what's happening in the crypto lending market. But is this going to happen? Absolutely no doubt about this. This is something that's gonna really change the way we're looking at art as an asset, and also how we look at digital art as an asset.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. You said funny word, hedging. I mean, in our situation, hedging would be really useful. But you know, I'm speaking about situation from a couple of days ago. So until you start to hedge, you maybe still should think how many new artists will bring, and then make a common system. So this will come for sure. This platform will come, and NFT will be more and more, I would say, respectful. Coming back to your questions regarding how I came to NFT or to this market, you know, I was in the culture market for around 20 years, but mainly dealing with big museums, big cultural institutions, and I want to little change the focus. So I moved to private companies and to private collectors a couple of years ago, and my company and myself, we've been very close to blockchain. Maybe not for artistic exposure, but for as a platform for which has been watched. and some parts of this technology can be used in our technical undertaking. So we start to play with crypto in 2015, and in ARTEIA history, we've been even close to launch an ICO and get some tokens, but finally we stopped this because we said that it's too early. It's too early now. But it gave us a lot of experience in this market. And curiously, I was watching NFT market for some time from the very beginning, and I was not very impressed because there was many rubbish. And even the art like crypto, somebody is buying it for millions. I was laughing out of this. I stopped to laugh a couple of months ago when I saw what's happening, and I didn't treat NFT movement as some people were saying the speculation, maybe it will replace galleries. I looked at it from the technical point of view, and for me, this movement was a way to bring blockchain to the masses. Because I don't know if you even imagine how many wallets. Ethereum wallet was created within 1 month just for NFT. 600,000 wallets in 1 month on Ethereum platform only. Yeah. This is just incredible. This is a tenfold rise, and this was because of the NFT movement. And each wallet means blockchain. So people start to speak about blockchain and start to, I would say even more, start to understand what the blockchain is. Because blockchain as a technology exists many, many years ago. It was so-called, in my times, distributed databases. But for the first time, a couple of years ago, you have all building blocks, and you have platforms when you can express your power using decentralization. So this is really exciting. This technology is that this decentralization, which is very important, I would say, on most of the markets, coming from politics, finishing with art, it's something very, very important. You cannot centralize everything, and you cannot decentralize everything. There is some middle, and it has to be found and defined, and then expressed technologically. And this is fascinating as well.
It's really interesting what you're saying, Marek, because you're talking about the democratization of blockchain, and you know what's interesting as well, what I think is happening here, is a democratization of the art world, right? And what I think is going to so first of all, obviously a lot of this growth is thanks to the new minted millionaires of blockchain, right? So that is clearly what's driven some of this massive increase in value, and then celebrity endorsement and the press and all of that sort of have been helping in creating this buzz around this industry. But what's very interesting is that it's attracting people to a new form of art who would never have stepped into a gallery, right? And who feel that the galleries are sort of these different worlds where people may make fun of them because they don't know a lot about art history. And here, because a lot of these younger individuals have been so comfortable in this world, in this technology world and virtual world, that it's very easy for them to step in and buy works of art. And that is wonderful. That is absolutely fantastic, because it's a little bit, if you compare it to growth markets or emerging markets, right? So when a country is reaching a certain level of wealth, or individuals within the country, the first thing they do is they buy their local artists, right? You can see that in every market. It happens all the time, right? Happens in India, happens in Africa, happens everywhere, right? So first they buy the local artists. Once they bought their local artists, they get really interested, and they think, oh wow, maybe there's something else out there that is gonna enhance my collection, right? And I am absolutely certain that what you're gonna start seeing is these collectors of these NFTs and digital artworks that are gonna start getting more interested in the overall physical art world as well. So I think this is a wonderful, wonderful change that's been happening.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And a part of the art is also wonderful in terms of technology, because it's becoming mainstream. And this is very important because when you see such beautiful idea like decentralization, you can talk about it, but when you have means to use it and to build something on it, it's absolutely incredible and gives you a new power. And this new power is so democratic that anybody can use it.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay. You maybe have to pay 1 cent to have a platform, to access the platform.
Yeah.
I think it's only one conclusion that can really come to mind is that the art market as a whole will benefit from blockchain in general, and there's no doubt about it. I think we are not going backwards. We are going towards a huge technological revolution and democratization. Sort of, you know, when we look back, it's in the same way that the market for photography changed once photographers started to do small editions. And the unicity of an NFT is very, very comforting in a way for collectors. Provenance is one of the key factors that influences the value of an artwork. Obviously, that's undisputable. Having a seamless provenance is good, whether it is for physical or digital work. So here we are not arguing; we are agreeing upon that. So no longer having to worry about where to keep your certificate of the artist and every transaction being recorded and registered. Obviously, those arguments will immensely benefit to build the trust in the market. And digital art, blockchain, and NFTs are here to stay, in my opinion. I don't think we are going to say goodbye to them. Question is whether we need to possess physical things, or are we switching entirely onto digital? I think from my perspective, the collectors I see around me, everybody needs physicality, and there's no doubt that people will continue the collecting process in a physical form. Although many new millennial collectors, new buying collectors are switching into the digital. So I wanted to ask you also, what are some practical advantages of the NFT trend? I think we've already touched upon a few, but Harco, maybe if you could take up on your expertise from the financial world, and for example, what toolkits would you sort of recommend right now to the private banking sector, to wealth managers, to people who are taking care of private assets of clients? What type of reassurance would you provide to them?
Yeah, I think, listen, I can't provide only reassurance, I'm afraid, right? So this is a super young market. It's fraught with difficulties and with risks. I can't deny that. Love to be able to do that, but I can't. You know, it's as I was saying earlier, this is an unregulated market. If anything were to happen to you, there's very little recourse. So we're talking about ownership. Now, the ownership is very well structured in the technology, in the codes. However, it's not so well defined when you're actually looking at the regulatory environment and the legal environment, right? So legally, we're still grappling with what does ownership mean, right? How do you assess that? What are the dangers of ownership? So, I think and then you're talking about the whole AML KYC issue that I touched upon earlier, which as you know today is fundamental in your ability to run a successful or not even successful, but to run any financial services business, right? Try to do AML KYC in this environment, when people are called people and lots of other different things, makes it very difficult, makes it very, very challenging. Having said that, and again, I come back on the hedge, the hedging the availability. You're clearly seeing that this is going in the right direction. You're clearly seeing that people are starting to think about solutions to these different problems. And I think like all of us, we need to stay super close to the evolution of this market, because you know what our clients are. And we need to understand what is happening, and we need to understand what the risks are and what the benefits are of this particular market.
Thank you, Harco. I think you're absolutely right, and I could not agree more. NFTs are a relatively new phenomenon, and we need to keep the pulse really checking. And I think it's very important for the regulatory institutions to not miss the moment as well, because in the end, it's all about the public and private link and interaction in order to create a new marketplace, if we are going to create a new marketplace. And I think this is where we're heading. And I think a guidance on how and whether NFTs fall within the perimeters of existing regulation will be much needed and welcomed. I think I don't know if Marek has any comments on that.
Yeah, I would just like to say that this regulation issue related to NFT is very important, and we don't see it yet. But we don't see it yet because regulation usually doesn't come in a day or two. It's a longer process, and we have this avalanche for the last 3-4 months of NFT. So it's clear from me that some people are thinking about it. And it is a very important subject because there are such many strange things happening here. That is just, for me, is incredible. Every day, maybe 10 times per day, I discover strange things. For example, I don't know if you are aware that Charlie Bit My Finger. He bought a video on YouTube. For nearly $800,000, and the owners of the content asked YouTube to remove because I sold it, I bought it, so I want to remove. And a person who spent $800,000 thought that when he's buying NFT, he's buying the intellectual property. But that's two different things, okay? Yeah. Absolutely. You don't buy content of the image or of the video. So there was a process and they lost. But it is even more recent issue from this week when the European Intellectual Property Office decided that the trademark owned by Banksy is invalid. And in this decision, they cited Banksy, who said EPL is for stupid. So the trademark now it's under big question mark in Europe. So now in US it's very important, but it's not important now in Europe. So how they are going to solve it, and they must solve it. Okay, so I think we have a very exciting time before of us because something must be done, and this silence we are now. Which is surrounding us in terms of regulation means that they are thinking, okay? Yeah.
Totally agree, and I think what is interesting to comment is that the technology is never silent. The technology always is ahead of us, and I think a big dynamo and a big stimulus is being exhibited through the technology and through the transformation of digitalized platforms.
I would like to interrupt here because I have a funny sentence to tell you. I was just working on my stuff and I browsed my papers. I found a paper I sent to my partner on 12th of February this year. And this paper was about what our company is doing in NFC and how to connect physical with virtual world. So the problem was solved. We created something. We called it Connect. And in this paragraph, there was no word NFT used. It was just a kind of something blockchain-based solution without NFT, okay? And then when a couple of weeks later we decided, well, NFT is here, why not to connect all together, NFC with NFT, and have a solution which we can propose. And everything could be done in weeks, or not years, but in weeks, in terms of technology or what we've been doing and what is available on the market.
And recent interest and the approval for NFTs, new market being currently created, can be observed with the auction houses. We have seen Sotheby's, Christie's switching immediately onto NFT platforms and allowing the clientele to buy through blockchain driven platforms. And I think recently even the CEO of Christie's, Mr. Cerruti, announced that they are partnering up with Andy Warhol Foundation for the next sale offered through Christie's via an NFT. And I think it's a sign, it's a momentum that is clearly visible, and only through entrepreneurial actions coming from the gallery world, from auction room, will also ultimately encourage artists' democratization and new curatorial projects. Definitely, I think we will be a witness of a new marketplace being renaissanced and being open to clients and collectors worldwide. And I think when we look at Europe, when we look at Asia, obviously Asia is such an interesting territory also for that evolution, because we see a huge uptake and surge of new entrepreneurs and millennials investing more and more in passion assets. That being said, art, cars, diamond, wine, you name it. So I think we will be we are living already in interesting times, but I think
we are living in a very interesting times. But I would like to add in once again that if somebody wants to spend important money on NFT, he has to think twice and really dig in Google on the internet, because you know the very famous Christie transaction, very famous. I think the most famous in NFT world, when the Beeple's Everydays the first was sold for nearly $70 million. It was acquired by MetaPools fund, okay? But how many people in this audience know that MetaPools fund has his own token on the market? It's called B20, and this token costed $2 in February. But a day before transaction, this token rise in price 14 times and was sold for $28. So it gives double thinking. You have to really think what's happening. Okay. Yeah. So for me, just to finalize what I think, all these big prices are coming from speculators. Okay, real artists are now in a shadow. It will come, but do not forget and don't be so much excited by those incredible amount of money paid for something, because it's just speculation, and speculation rules by their own laws. So and these laws are very obscure. So we should be very much afraid of this or wonder. We just should know that in an emerging market, such things happen.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think MetaPools actually bought 5 of the top 10 NFTs, right? So you can see how the market is really structured here.
I didn't went so far, but I was very much interested. Spent 70 million on something which maybe has some worth, but not 70 million. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking. I was comparing it, and I forget the price. I was looking for my notes. So I gotta find it. I was comparing it to the highest value paid for photography, right? Which is a market which exists for 150 years. And I think that if I don't mistake, I think the top price for photography was $6 million. So it gives you a bit of a sense of scale, right, in terms of that difference between here you've got this object for $70 million. So it's a very interesting, it's a fascinating space, but I completely agree with you, Marek, you know, buyer beware.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's good. We have this democratization coming out, and millions of new people are entering the art market, and some people can laugh from the choices, but I think that the notion of art must be extended. Because you have to look at the marketplace, and the marketplace is bigger and bigger. So something which was not art yesterday maybe is becoming art, or surely will be art in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree, Marek and Harco. And I think last question to conclude is: would you buy yourself? Would you open your own NFT wallet, or you might have already?
I have, yeah. definitely. If only to not necessarily because of you know, I've found works of art that I've really liked, but really to get a sense as to, you know, the functioning of that market. You know, it's not very, as Marek is saying, not very expensive to dip a toe in that space, and it's a fascinating, I call it a bit subculture, but it's a really fascinating space, really fascinating.
Yeah. When I started to look at NFT and browse through all these platforms, no, not all, but few of them, looking for the art, I was quite astonished how many good objects you can get for $5. I was really astonished, because this told me that there is so many artists who just strive and would like to sell something, but they have no means, because they can go to you call them galleries. I call them concentrators in terms of technical word. So you go to the concentrator and you see 40 names or 50 names, but you don't see this 1,000s. And when you search on Google, you see first five pages, and then you cannot find anything. So these people are vanishing, and thanks to NFTs, they are again appearing. And when you start to use, and this is not yet available, but will be soon, artificial intelligence tools, virtual reality, augmented reality, when you will take a photo of your room and you will search for something which fits to this view, you will find something for $20 and not $1 million. So you can afford 20, but maybe you cannot afford 1 million. So we'll think twice how to spend that money.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your inspiring insights and guidance. And obviously, I wanted to thank all of our listeners and people who joined in for participating. And we will be sharing with all of our guests our notes and questions and important links. And I'm sure we will be revisiting this theme in a couple of months later during the year, when we can compare the latest results of sales, and then we can
I will say something completely different. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It will be different world. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Harco, Marek. I wish you all a very
Thank you, Karolina.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.